Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, with the fastest player out there, the Zerg in the red, the Italian stallion. It's Reynor. Up against arguably the best Protoss player in the world, we have the smiling assassin in the blue. It's Hero. A best of 5 Protoss versus Zerg showdown, with Reynor's unequaled speed up against Hero's reckless and unpredictable aggression. I'll take possibly the only slow moment of this series to humbly ask you to appease the algorithm by smashing that like button. And maybe even subscribing. And Jimmy, what are we at? What, 1,530 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Hero's first adept coming across the map as the probe has already opened up a subtle gap in the mineral wall in the center, keeping his options open, literally and figuratively, as the adept will be bothered by the queens and throw some mad shade right past him. But it's pretty clear to both sides at this point that Reynor just wants to expand down to the low ground. Will Hero match him there, or will he decide to go another direction with it? He's got the Stargate on the way. The probe? Oh, he's gonna probe block him on the low ground, which is, in many cultures, considered to be a dick move. But of course, Protoss culture is a little bit different, though Reynor's dabbled in both, as a bit of a Protoss player himself. That probe, just patrolling while the adepts keep the queens busy, and the drone will start to nibble on it as Hero. An emotional and physical victory, because already quite a late third base. 3.5 minutes is when, well, usually about 2:30 to 3 minutes is your relatively medium time third. Anything earlier, that's a bit greedy, probably no gas. Anything later is becoming concerning. And he actually finishes the pot. Don't. You've heard him on. I thought he was just gonna tap him on the shoulder and let him suffer, but Hero finishes it off, goes for the drones in the mineral line, right through the gauntlet of the queens. A lot of damage being taken. And 3 drones dead thus far. The adept shades coming down, gonna try to get in the gap in the minerals. That's a lot of Zerglings, but Zergling speed is a long way off. Reynor ended up expanding to the north side. And the map now, there are some narrow passageways, but enough space for both adepts and Zerglings to flow throughout. Hero has already taken his third base as well, only 10-15 seconds behind Reynor. So right now, most of the battle fought mind games and with these early pressure units, but with no way to really do critical damage. But here comes the Shady Bunch alongside those Oracles. The Spore Crawler about to finish, cancels the shade. 1 Zergling nibbling on the pylon now. A third Oracle is on the way. No Moracles in production, but 6 Adepts. A gang of Adepts looking to shade in. Clearly, what? They'll expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. It's about sending a message. And that message is apparently I didn't hotkey one of the Adepts in with the rest of them. Interesting message. Shut up. Twilight Council and Forge on the way behind that Zergling. Still, it's life's work of the last 2 minutes, taking down the pylon, trying to chase down the Adepts, but they will make it back to the wall. Hero's got it awkwardly shaped as always, but will be in position to deal with it. The Adepts now hug around the Nexus. The Stalkers warped in a less than ideal position and will be immediately surrounded and ripped apart by the Zerglings, but the Zerglings will be taken down, and somehow 2 Zerglings got into the natural because, of course, Hero left the door open. And the Zerglings came right through it. And now he's in the main. He's going to kill more probes with just these 2 lings. Right now, Reynor doubling Hero's 8 PM. Not exactly a huge indicator here at 6 minutes into the game, but those Zerglings are finally taken out by a Stalker and several of the probes. But 3 probes down. Not a devastating economic blow, but a bit embarrassing for Hero. The Twilight researching Blink +1. The Oracles are lighting up the hatchery in the top right corner. And a 4th base will be not only shut down, but not even canceled by Reynor. So, a medium-sized mistake there. 275 minerals down. Well, if you cancel it, it's only like 217. Since hatcheries only cost 275 now after the discount. Of course, that's balanced out by Queens costing 25 minerals more, but I digress. Either way, no cancel there, and Reynor actually a few workers behind, but building 3 hatcheries at a time. Mass expanding, and the oracles don't quite have... Susan! One at a time. We have a system. Alphabetical order. I don't... What, like the Terran alphabet? No, shut up, Brenda. Now's not the time. We don't have time for this. Sorry. +1 done. Infestation pit. About to complete. As both sides kind of expanding their options dramatically. Hero in a much more predictable fashion for now. As he's got Blink and +1. Reynor is finishing 3 more hatches. He's got an infestation pit done. +2 melee, a hive on the way. It could have been Swarm Host, could have been hive. Honestly, infestors were on the table. And still are potentially, though. Right now, he doesn't have very much gas at all. Because dealing with these Blink Stalkers, not respecting the option for stasis, and most of the Zerglings get locked up, but he's forced to recall back to the 3rd with the vast majority of the army, but the Zerglings are already on top of it with +1 melee, doing terrible, terrible damage to the Stalkers. There's only 1 Oracle. Wait, I take it back. Now another Oracle has energy. With the energy recharge, will help take out the Zerglings. But even more Zerglings are on the way. Reynor has lost 76 of them, and he's about to have about approximately that number on the field yet again. He has no other tech. He's just now starting a Hydra Den. 2 Dropper Lords are on the way. Overlord speed is completed. Zergling drops will be the choice on this map where it's so difficult to defend your main and your outlying bases simultaneously. But at the same time, the Oracles are going to spot it in a very awkward exchange here. Slaps a Revelation down. Maybe he'll make a Void Ray or something to deal with this. Or just have some Stalkers ready. He might be suspecting Queens in those Dropper Lords. And in this case, it's just the Lings themselves. There are so many 100 Zerglings on the field. He's got a hive on the way. Adrenal glands in production. 4th base for Hero coming up as well. Another run by of Zerglings into the 3rd base as Reynor trying to rip him apart. And now Hero's down 25 supply against a player who's making drones and Zerglings, which is quite an impressive feat. The Zerglings just running by whatever token Protoss units are chasing them down, but now there's enough Stalkers to stake out the base and drive them back. +2 melee about to complete. Lurker Den in production. 2 Colossi for Hero. Will be the answer here and uniquely suited to dealing with these floods of Zerglings. The Hydras with muscular augments on the way. That Hydra speed upgrade going to be critical, but not as critical as actually getting Lurkers. Because once the Colossi are out, Hydras and Lings alike, not going to be the ideal choice on the field. But a few more probes will be killed. It's 90 drones to just 62 probes. So Hero has a bit of a problem on his hands right now. And the economy, not looking incredible. The thing is, Reynor doesn't have the tech yet. He doesn't have Vipers. He doesn't have Lurker range, though he's working on it. And he doesn't know about the Colossi. Which means if Hero is able to get extended thermal lands with 2 to 4 Colossi, ideally he's actually building Immortals now, probably not trusting that Reynor will be entirely unprepared. But the Lurkers are on the way. With no Vipers, this is still going to be a very dangerous army from Hero. He has the army supply relatively close, 88 to 113. And the gas value of his units... the Colossi are spotted. A Zergling somehow slips through the wall, because of course it does. Triggers the barrier on an Immortal before getting taken down. The Oracles slapping Revelations on the bases. Still no Vipers in production. In fact, Reynor is suffering from being maxed out right now. He's got 125 Zerglings on the field, building 4 Dropper Lords, 4 Lurkers simultaneously. Meanwhile, Hero has +2 weapons and is working on both armor and shields, which is kind of a crazy choice. Some DTs mixed in. We've got a whole Noah's Ark build here. Tassidar's Ark of... We got 2 Archons, couple Zealots, couple Immortals, couple Colossi, 3 Oracles, but I doubt they'll all survive here, so... And behind it, there is a fleet beacon on the way, but simultaneously, Reynor's getting a Spire. He has to survive against this initial attack, though, and Hero has an army supply lead. Though, does he have an answer for the lurkers. Charge lots working through. Reynor just abandoning the base in the top right. About 10 lurkers. A bulwark at the back base. Reynor doesn't really want to give up any more than this. Obviously, you don't want to give up anything at all. But he cuts off the Immortal. The stasis will stop a lot of the Zerglings in their tracks, but a temporary solution. More like just stalling the problem. Meanwhile, going forward, darts in, dives on one of the lurkers, takes out 2. 3 more lurkers burrowing down, but the Zerglings are buffering for the ground army. And the Queens helping out as well. A full recall as a massive drop into the main base. 4 dropper lords of Zerglings will be unloaded. The Zerglings come out of stasis as well. The rest of the Stalkers eviscerated by the lurkers. 78 more Zerglings, 80 more Zerglings in production. As Reynor at 600 actions per minute and rising will continue the onslaught. 2 carriers in production, Templar Archives, Mothership as well, but Reynor still has enough minerals in the bank and enough hatcheries to maintain production, though it won't last forever. He knows that. The lurkers are moving forward. The creep spread only halfway across the map. So far, Reynor able to maintain the momentum, but as soon as the Mothership and the carriers come out, that could flip dramatically. There's nothing in the wall! Hero! Hero! It happened again! The Zerglings get in. The charge lots will cut off a base. The lurkers doing so much damage. The stasis catches a surprising amount, but the lurkers slicing down the center. The Zerglings ripped apart the cannons in the main. The carrier will not arrive because the Stargate itself was dismantled by the Lings. And Hero has plummeted 50 supply down. His economy gutted. He lost 55 Zerglings. No, he did not. He lost 55 probes in the last minute, leaving him with just 22 on the field. It's a disaster for the Korean Protoss, but he still has an army to beat. He's not going to be able to rebuild almost anything. A handful of Archons, maybe a couple Tempests. He has almost no income. Reynor, on the other hand, 72 drones, still maintaining 5-6 bases on the field. The lurkers are retreating. 1 carrier made it out, the Mothership. He's actually gonna fight, and is there detection? He can take down potentially the Overseer. It doesn't matter, the lurkers are just cut from the field. One of them survived. He has the revelation. He missed! He missed! That one lurker doing its best, trying to make up for the 15 or so that just died. 17 lurkers dead. 268 Zerglings over the last 3 minutes. But overall, well, Reynor still has to survive. Hero has more army supply with far better upgrades. The only upgrades for Reynor are +2 melee and adrenal glands. And any other base. That one lurker! It's still going, getting real damage, getting some of the Colossi. Finally will be taken out. But buying a little bit of extra time, the Zergling counter. Looking to dismantle whatever's left of the economy. A small Sporchard out in front, but that will help provide detection as well. Corruptors are now above the field and Queens on the ground. In order to help bring everything together, the Oracles just fly directly into the Spore Crawlers. The Immortals are cut to pieces as well. Time Warp a little bit late. The Queen's going to be taken down. And the Zerglings get it again! Oh no. Fool me once. And if it's Hero, you'll likely be fooled again and again. He's down to the worker count he started with, and Reynor has given him the runaround. It's cost him everything. 89 probes dead for the low, low price of 454 Zerglings. I assume the lurkers killed some of the probes, but the vast majority up close and personal. And, well, he's got a Mothership. He literally has the power units here and nothing else. Not a single gateway unit has survived. I'm not counting the Archon he just built. What is this? Why is there a drone here? Don't worry about it. Well, you don't know his story. I'm not sure anyone does. Is this a scouting drone? No, I think I actually have no idea. Huh. We don't have time to puzzle that out. And now, finally, the finishing move. The Viper. Viper singular. Reynor, not a big fan of those late game spellcasters. instead choosing to play a much more hectic, though, in my opinion, much more Zergy style. But the endless Zerg rush. Oh, the problem with this, get over here! The Colossi, everything here except the Archons, can be taken out by Corruptors, making them possibly the most useful they ever have been. The Lurker's moving out of position at an inopportune timing for one DT to move in. Though there is still a Lurker. The Mothership, the most fierce Protoss army. This is still something that must be respected. The upgrades are incredible. The DT still getting some damage. Hero is actually rebuilt to 34 probes. If that one last Lurker wasn't still in the mineral line, he could have easily killed dozens more. A few more Zerglings coming across. He left a Colossus. Oh, but here comes the army. The pre-call. He tries to fight Parasitic Bomb. He's going to bring it home with him. Oh, he's going to bring it home. He almost kills the Colossi with the Parasitic Bomb. And there's no SCVs to repair, obviously, but 2 Colossi and the Mothership all incredibly bruised, and the Corruptors will finish them off. The Tempest taken down. The Colossi will be toppled. And while Hero managed to keep it together a lot longer than it seemed like he should have, it certainly did not go as well as he hoped it could have. GG! Reynor overruns Hero in the most Reynor-like fashion. The first thing we learned of Reynor when he came onto the pro scene, when he literally wasn't old enough and he needed parents' permission in order to play in tournaments, was he was so fast and incredibly dangerous with the Zergling run-bys, which sounds like something very specific to base your entire playstyle around, but it's specifically very good against most players even to this day. So Reynor takes game 1 in a Zerg-like fashion. Hero falling prey to the same mistakes we've seen Hero make many times over. I wouldn't be surprised if Reynor leans even more heavily on those Zerglings when he's up against Hero. Hero very good at strategic choices, but sometimes the devil's in the details. And if the devil is Zerglings and the details are not walling off, or the details are your base, and you don't have a wall. Anyways, this is way too the Zerglings got in his base because he didn't keep a unit in the wall. Because, of course, Protoss players have never learned door-based technology. One to 0 Reynor. What a game. Well. Alright, Hero. Honestly surprised to see such a hectic game on El Dorado, which is a map that, once it opens up, honestly, I keep thinking of it as like a turtling map, but that almost never bears out. Because it's so hard to defend your outlying bases. If your army's committed to the north side, it's hard to get back to the main. If your army's headed to the south, well, that top right corner and even the middle bases are sometimes exposed. So it isn't really a turtling map. It is instead a disjointed one, and you can divide and certainly conquer. Reynor proving that. Abyssal Reef, on the other hand, which we're back to, very much not one of those maps. You can quite easily get 4 or 5 bases and almost defend them on the same screen. Now, of course, we've got our fancy observer screen, which I kind of wish you could play the game like this, but I digress. Like just like this. This would be good, right? Our monitors. We're not playing on CRT. Back when StarCraft 2 first came out. No, I didn't have a CRT monitor, but enough people did. And 1280 by 720 resolution. We were loving it. Okay, now we have significantly more pixels. Hopefully you're enjoying them as well here on YouTube's. Like and subscribe and keep those pixels coming. But actually I've thought about, I could effectively upscale to 4K. I know some other people make their videos in 4K. But StarCraft is not in 4K. It's not truly in 4K. That just, the file sizes, the upload times. Maybe once I get the new 6090 series and a nice new CPU. I've actually been looking at the new AMD round, but I digress. But for now, I think 1440 covers almost everyone. Though those of you watching on your televisions, well, you're probably not making comments, but let me know if... What is this? Hero, what is this? What is this? Sorry. I know a surprisingly large percentage of you watching on your television, so hopefully it's coming through well. Hello. Thank you for welcoming me into your home. I don't know why I'm saying it like this. Like, is your computer or phone not... Moving on. Getting a little distracted here. As the Void Ray lights up and burns out the Overlord. I need to finish at least one of those points. Oh, one, StarCraft 2 doesn't have true 4K resolution, and two, I don't know how 1440p looks on a TV, alright? I'm a millennial, I don't have a TV. I would just use it to watch the things I watch on my PC anyways, so, like, your mother. But Void Ray is out, takes out the Overlord, and heads across the map. A classic hero build to just keep his opponent guessing, and that Void Ray has a lot of utility as time goes on. This is balanced out by not having nearly as much opportunity to take out early drones. It's a little bit less effective at defending against mass Zergling. It doesn't have nearly the DPS, and you can't energy recharge it to give it some more utility. And both of those things might become relevant momentarily as the Zerglings move into the third base. Another Adept is on the way, but the first one is going to get clawed apart. And the Zerglings, well, he forces the Oracle to light up and burn through some of its energy, though Hero doing a good job of taking out almost all the Lings. I hate that Wallen so much. It's just so not good. But yeah, what could go wrong with a poor Wallen, Hero? I really don't know. It feels like every single game. Like, if I go back and I watch Cyril versus Hero, which was played either slightly before or after this series. I don't remember exactly which. I think he walled up differently. Feels like he's coming up with it. It's like most players on the ladder, where you really feel like you should have practiced walling off. But at the start of every season with the maps, you should know that there's this much space. The maps don't change. All right, this isn't Age of Empires. They're the same maps each time. In fact, these are the same maps you played hundreds of games on in 2018, Hero, but somehow we're coming up with a creative new idea on how to wall off each time. Either way. Anyways, the Void Ray took out an Extractor, even though the Queens were hitting it, which was very disrespectful. Hero will mitigate his wall-in creativity with a hard wall of another gate. And, well, the Oracles slide by, but the Spore Crawler drives him away. Reynor looking at 4 bases. Still has plenty of Lings out there, though not nearly as many as the previous game. At least not yet. And he's getting a Hydra Den well before angling towards Hive. Hero is already getting a Templar Archives. Just started production. His third base. It's just so difficult to actually... Oh. He blocked the base with a creep tumor. Ah, what a noob, this former world champion. 5 drones dead. As the Spore Crawler's not completed. Well, not built at all. 5 drones, and another one outright taken out. Reynor getting stalled out just a bit, and now plenty of Blink Stalkers on the field. The Oracles can come back, recharge their energy. Honestly, not even really needed. He blunked over the rocks. Now the Zerglings are coming back, but the Stalkers are already at the front door, and the Zerglings have to go all the way back. Of course, Hero knows they're on their way around for a flank. Will he get caught in it, or... Oh my. And a fleet beacon is on the way, so no matter what's happening here, we know where Hero wants to end up in. Wow, what a flank! Blocks in the Zerglings actually hunting them down, despite the fact the Zerglings are supposed to be hunting the Stalkers. But only one of them has something so uncomfortable in their name. Storm, +2 ground weapons, fleet beacon, and a second Stargate alongside the 4th Nexus for Hero. Hydras and Zerglings. And more Hydras and more Zerglings for Reynor. And he started +2 ranged attack, and an infestation pit. I really thought he was just going to quadruple down on this and go all out. Might be able to pick off one of the oracles. Indeed he does. A Tempest on the way to start. This will all come down to the storms. Either Reynor will be washed away, or Hero will break before him. The Hydras and Lings, half a dozen cannons and batteries at the natural, trying to stall this out. That is a juicy location to storm. Between a rock and a hard place, those Hydras, but the Zerglings get in. More Hydras over to the left flank. No Templar anywhere in sight. No charge on those Zealots. Down goes the Storm. Hits some of the Hydras coming up towards the 4th, but the Zerglings are in the main. Yes, he broke through, and now the mineral line is vulnerable, and 10 more probes dead. The mothership has begun production. The Tempest starting to work on the Zerglings of all things. The Templar moving up in order to box out the Hydras. And Reynor, he's killed 13 probes. He's taken out several oracles. A couple cannons overall. Superficial damage to Hero, though. It looks dangerous. It looks scary, but he still has Templar. He's working on Tempests. He's got a mothership halfway done, and he still has 4 bases with 68 probes. It's not a booming economy, but it's more than enough to progress his tech further while still building an incredibly dangerous army. Slow Overlords, waiting for their opportunity. Overlord speed's only halfway done. Reynor gonna try another mass Zergling drop. Unfortunately, Hero already has basic defenses in most of his bases, anticipating some sort of actions like this, and of course the fact that he already showed his hand with the Hydras and Lings. Stalkers blink up to the high ground, some more blink down. Ultraless Cavern is on the way. Templar with plenty of energy. Adrenal glands. +1 melee and carapace in production. Notably, no Nidus, no Lurker Den, and no Spire. He wants to kill this here. But a storm's coming. The mothership gliding forward. Looking to chase down the brunt of the army. The Dropper Lords are headed to the north past the shark fields. Or, I guess pools or current. The sharks. Adepts will get a couple kills. Hero just trying to keep Reynor busy, keep tabs on the army. The drop will head into the main. Can he bait him into a mass recall? That's the question. The Zerglings will drop out. Hero, the Tempest shelling the base. He recalls to the 4th. The mothership is not with it. The main base will hold. He's warping in enough Zealots and he has the Tempest. But if he can get the mothership... Oh, the Templar! Oh, no! One storm lands, and with the time warp, the Hydra's in a good position, turning into an absolutely terrible one so quickly. And now Reynor, he's got 6 Ultralisks in production. I'm not sure how well they're going to do, and they don't even have the chitinous plating done. 2 Queens take it out. The Ultras trundling down the ramp, trying to get on top of the Templar. They will do so, but the storms are cataclysmic. The base is just evaporated. All the Hydras, all the Lings, all the drones, and all the supply. As Reynor may cut through on the ground, but he has absolutely nothing to contest the mothership and the Tempest in the air. The Ultras will be forced to retreat as the Tempest continue to shell the hatchery. Quite good against the Ultras, even with their armor as well. They just hit so damn hard. A few Ultras trying to make their way through, but they're just so large. The mothership is taken down, but the rocks are in the way, and it's not like he can... There's no answer to the Tempest. Well, there's one answer to the Tempest. Reynor chooses it. GG. Not nearly enough. And Hero is able to decisively take game 2. Reynor ran out of steam and ran out of units far too quickly. And just like Reynor was able to play to his strengths and rip Hero apart in game 1, Hero kept Reynor busy for long enough to put together his decisive attack in game 2. So we're all tied up as we go into Amygdala. See how these players feel. Is that a 12 pool? So that's how he feels about it. This is, I believe, the longest ground rush distance map. That's before any of the rocks are taken down in the pool. So what better place to put down an early pool? Good old-fashioned Zerg rush from Reynor. So far, the quicker he's able to get Zerglings in Hero's base, the more success he's had. Not exactly the most comprehensive or complicated situation, but definitely something worth following up on. Hero is probe scouting. It is not always a sure thing here, as the probe scout is so late, it's not going to be able to block a hatchery, assuming that hatchery is at a normal or hatch first time. In fact, this is so late, it's not even going to be able to block the 12 pool expand, but I don't think Reynor is intending on winning the game outright, but instead putting it in a position where Hero is reacting to him instead of the other way around. Hero was able to do so much with so relatively few units on Abyssal Reef that Reynor never really had that opportunity to control the pace of the game. So Reynor is sacrificing a significant chunk of his early economy in order to take back that initiative. And I can't say I disagree. 6 Zerglings on the way. That's it. What will be the objective? He's not going to be able to break through the wall. Not if Reynor, or not if Hero is actually dealing with this. He's going to build 2 Zealots. There is no expansion on the way yet. Hero doesn't want to take a chance. So here's the poker game where Reynor's going to know everything Hero's doing. There's no anti-air. He knows there's 2 gates. He knows the expansion timing. There's no way for Hero to know how many Zerglings were built. So we know there are only 6 links. That means Hero could come across with the first 2 Adepts and 2 Zealots and probably be fine at home. But if Reynor gambled and built 10, 12, 14 links, if he just kept building them, even with the expand, sure, there's a chance he'd just outright lose if he tried to break the wall. But if you move out too early, then you lose as well. In fact, he's building a Zealot at the natural, but he built a Zealot, canceled it, started building a Stalker. So he showed the Overlord he was building. I think in order to... that's the best he can do to control Reynor's economy. Seeing the gateway building with the Overlord, you don't know what's in it. Or coming out of it. So he has to maybe think about Adepts coming across the map. Or the Zealots themselves. Reynor up to 27 drones, only now surpassing Hero, and Hero's about to have a second Nexus. The Stalker comes out, and that gives away the fact that Hero's not doing a mass Adept play to follow it up. Though it will deny any additional scouting of Hero's base. At this stage, we're kind of in uncharted territory. This isn't the most rare situation, but nowadays, because of this exact ability, is why a lot of Zerg players are shy away from the early pool. Because once an Oracle is out, there's not much you can do anyway. So the normal methodology is just try to mitigate damage and get as much done as you can before the Oracles start picking away at it. Except this Oracle, gonna work on it on its own. Brenda, why does it have so much energy? That thing, we've been out for longer than it. Why does it start? No, they have an energy recharge ability. Okay, but why don't we? Oh, Susan, you take a nap all day. At least from my perspective, you should already have that much energy. You know what, Brenda? I work hard here. I'm saving energy for transfuse. What are you doing? Injecting a hatchery all day? Is that even the hatchery you're married to? Adept Glaives on the way for Hero. A stasis. Technically, well, if the two queens were firing at it, they would take it out before it completes. But also, with the Spore Crawler for detection, that is a lot of adepts. There is no vision until he gets to the watchtower. Very important for Reynor to be at the watchtower. The alarm bell is going to start going off, and he most certainly notices it now. 16 Zerglings on the way. Zergling speed will be completed. Zerglings with speed are like trying to smother a fire with paper against Adept Glaives, but eventually you could do so if you have enough. Don't try this at home. He's gonna cancel it. Yeah, cancels the shade at the third. The drone's on the run. Reynor is up 10 workers here, so can afford a few losses, but obviously wants to minimize it. More adepts heading in. There's still an Oracle in the back corner. Not a great shade through from Hero. He completes it. He's using the Roach Warren against the Lings. There's a touch of irony there. And cuts through them relatively easily. Gets into the main base. The damage starting to add up here. 5, 6 drones dead. More roaches and lings on the way. I take it back, I think. It seemed like Reynor was prepared, but without roaches, he burned right through the paper. And now 7 drones. Hero has a third base behind this. He's building double robo. Reynor does not have a lair. He can't get roach speed. So the Sloaches will have to just trundle across the map. That's assuming the game even progresses past this point. This is becoming near GG levels of damage. Because, of course, it's not like Hero's idle back at home. That double robo. This is one of those, you can't just tap it out. But it's pretty clear to both sides what happens now. Reynor builds 5s. Well, the Oracle comes in. There's no Spore. I think he killed the Spore with the Adept. 17 drones dead in the last minute. Well, it could have been worse. It could always be worse. The Queens. Not quite able to finish off the Oracle either. 2 Immortals on the way. And Reynor actually goes back to Mass Zergling, which... quite a smart move in this scenario. It's pretty obvious that Hero is going to be preparing to counter roaches, considering how many roaches were on the field. Reynor had enough economy to try to bounce back. And if he gets so greedy, and Hero either tries an attack and fails, or takes too long, Reynor might be able to overtake him in terms of sheer production, so... I wasn't sure if Reynor would go for the big counter, but instead he's going to play defense, and that Watchtower going to help him out yet again. He's going to see this attack coming. The Zerg rocks are down after the 8-minute mark here down the center. Not that I think that was going to be relevant. There are 3 hatcheries in production. They're going to be down to 2 after the cancel to the north side. A huge counterattack. Reynor commits almost all of his Zerglings there. Building dozens more back at home, but he's going to give up his third base as well. Very likely Hero loses his third Nexus, but at the same time, the Adept Shade through a little bit too early. If he gets the Warp Prism, an awkward exchange to start. Loses some Adepts. The Zerglings are in the natural. The Zerglings are in the main. Well, Baneling's on the way, and he still has Ravagers to potentially break the few force fields on the table. The Queens, hold the line! Hold! 43 probe dead! How does this keep happening? A force field on the mineral line. Banelings get some damage. Adepts in the main base. Both sides will be economically devastated It's not going to be about who wins. It's going to be about who's left. The Adepts shade back into the fray before the Immortals are taken down. More Zerglings coming out of the hatcheries. He loses one of the Immortals, not living up to its name. Fires off a volley. The Corrosive Biles soften up the War Prism. There's still enough Queens. And Reynor, Hero's down to 13 probes. He lost the Immortal. Hero was staring down the gaping maw of victory, but he seems to have managed to circumvent it into the something equally disgusting defeat. I mean, Hero once again letting the Zergling, well, not really letting, but Reynor creating an opportunity to slaughter the probes. And Hero, his attention drawn between both sides. A spine crawler. This kind of sums up the game. A badly bruised spine crawler uprooted. The spore crawler left to bleed out. And Hero's back to the Adepts. But now there's Ravagers, Banelings. The Queens are still intact. He actually just goes straight into the Banes. Oh, Hero. Looking a little more like Zero this time. Clearly getting to him. Reynor did everything right, and Hero helped him out a little bit there at the end. But now look at the supply. 84 to 31. Reynor manages to turn around a game that looked almost entirely out of reach. But he stuck with it, and it pays off. Wow. Reynor 2 to 1. Hero. It is... You know, part of the reason Hero is so great to watch is you truly cannot predict what's going to happen next. He may look like an absolute genius. And then other days, the Forrest Gumpian school of Protoss doesn't always work out. The Zerglings doing exactly what they needed to do, and more, as Reynor guts the entire economy simultaneously for the second time in this series, and manages to just barely hold against whatever Protoss army is left. By no means a comfortable victory, but a victory nonetheless. Remember, that started with a 12 pool. The drone headed out just past the probe. That's looking to block, of course, as all nefarious probes are. All right, Hero. One of those games that, if he just sits back and defends, I think he's perfectly fine. Possibly misjudging. Wait, is that? That's not a... There's... Thanks, I hate it. There are two gaps in that wall. I'm not exactly sure what the purpose of that is. Every game, alright? He's trying to get the achievement for 100 different ways to technically wall in his Protoss. Not that 98 of them are very practical. There's definitely a gap up here. There's definitely a gap there. I do know the arguments for having the pylon in the wall. Well, the argument is supposed to be that you can wall in with a cyber, a gate, and a pylon. And while it's a little more vulnerable to outright attack, it gets you your wall more quickly. and you don't have to commit as much of your tech to the front. But it's just not a wall. Like, it's just not. I don't understand. I gotta stop trying, all right? It's like looking into the sun. There's some things that mankind simply cannot... He noticed with his Okay, he noticed with his probe. He's like, huh, wait a second. Maybe playing with his controller on his couch. On his TV, like we meant. Didn't quite notice it was a little off-center. That would explain some of the micro in this series so far. Uh-huh. Oracle's on the way. Adept. Get off my screen! Adept just dies because he wanted that one drone. Was it 2? No, it was 1. He got 1 drone. Is 1 drone worth an adept? No, but maybe that the Oracle comes in. 2 more drones. No, actually, I think that was just 1 more. It just was quick enough that it shows up in the little timer thing. And now the Zerglings in position. Oracle comes out. And gonna try to... Well, that actually goes a little poorly for Reynor. Does not kill the Adept, does not delay the 3rd base, does not pass go, does not collect 200 minerals. So the Oracle enough to keep them busy. Twilight Council on the way behind. No forge yet, and he isn't mining gas from his natural. That's late on the natural gas if he was going to go for Blink. But the Adepts and the Oracles, the Spore Crawler are a little off to the side. Where are the Queens? The Queens, the creep is not spreading to that location. Gets more drones on the other side, and the Shady Bunch is going to find a lot of damage. He's already killed another dozen or so lings, and gets into the natural where the Queens will strongly disagree with their presence here, but can't really do much about it. Reynor does not have a huge amount of drones. He's equal right now with Hero at 48. There's more on the way, but this is all larva as well. There's only 3 hatcheries. The Queens working their hardest to slap the injects into them. Blink is on the way behind. Hero just warps in some more Adepts. The Triumvirate of Oracles together back at home. There's nothing in the wall. One of the Oracles preemptively lights up, but the Adepts are on the other side of the map and Shady in yet again. And he's just gonna complete it, why not? He doesn't quite get the drone kills, but he's gonna keep him busy. 14 more lings on the way as Hero drawing out yet another round of Zergling production, causing Reynor a bit of panic here. And now with the Oracles, those are definitely panic lings. Like, Reynor already has the lings he needs to deal with this. Unless it was Glaved Adepts. And he doesn't know for sure it's not. So building another round of lings is potentially helpful against that, but it will hamstring his economy further. That 4th hatchery is on the way, but Hero, 62 probes, he's got plenty of gateways now. And the Queen stumbling off the creep yet again. And the Adepts, this is just disrespectful at this point. Like, it doesn't even matter if they get... This is like the 4th time they've just completely ignored the Queens and gone into the main. The Stasis catches a Roach and a Drone. The Zerglings on the other side are coming back to defend without even attacking. Gets into the natural. The Adepts just continue dealing the damage emotionally and physically. This is infuriating to deal with as a Zerg. And another Stasis. And now dozens of Blink Stalkers headed across the map. +1 melee is done. Another Stasis is triggered. The Oracles should have at least 1 revelation. And that drone transfer is maybe a bit ill-advised. He finds another base up to the corner. Multiples, I think that's going to trigger on the eggs there. It will. I don't think you can freeze eggs. Going for the hatchery. And with multiple stasises, well, he just gets the 4th. So the major advantage that Hero had, or Reynor had, which was potential production, has now just been shot down by the Stalkers. So, despite the questionable start, Hero finding his footing here. And Reynor in a very uncomfortable situation. Though, I said the same thing last game, so hold your Zerg or Protoss horses. Oh, another stasis. That's a great one. Creates a bit of a force field there. Blinks up into Reynor's main base. And there's not enough links in Raptor. He's just going for the main. Another stasis to cover the retreat. He just tries to take it out with Corrosive Bow, but it triggers anyways. And he can back off the revolving door of Stalkers. And he could actually just go join up with his other army, potentially. The 3 Oracles still covering. The Zergling drop is loaded up. Reynor trying to find some counter-aggression, which has had remarkable success throughout this series. But so far, only finding Stalkers at every turn. The Ling drop is finally headed in towards the natural. But Hero up to the north side. More Queen's gonna go down. Zerglings surrounding the saddest force field. And chasing down the Stalkers. Unable to blink out. They eat some corrosive biles, but a lot of them will be caught by the Lings. Blinks forward on top of the Queens. Meanwhile, Lings dropping at the natural. Zerglings held at bay by the Zealots. A recall back to the natural while the Zerglings are ripping things to shreds, I say, but Hero manages to mitigate most of the damage. Though more Zerglings get into the main, that might be enough to just take out the cannon as well. He's not. He's finally warping in. Target firing some probes down behind. Hero down to 56 probes, still taking a lot of damage in this scenario. But now, the Protoss army's coming across the map. 1-1 is done against just +1 melee. +2's on the way. Queen's coming up. Oracle's mostly out of energy. No stasis behind this. A whole lot of Zerglings on the field. Reynor was able to retake the top left corner. Hero's going to be angling for it now. One stasis at the back. Reynor should be able to deal with it relatively easily. Again, the Stalkers getting driven back. Charge lots just flinging themselves into the fray. A full mid-game brawl as neither player able to get the upper hand reliably. The Zerglings thinning out on the Zealots, but the Zealots being taken down in turn. The Oracles almost completely out of energy. You can go back and recharge. There's +1 shields and +2 ground weapons about to complete for Hero, who's all about the gateway units and the Oracles overhead. Meanwhile, Reynor is working it. He doesn't even have Roach speed. He just finished Baneling speed, building a few Banelings on the other side. Hero's back up to a worker lead. The Stalkers are starting to find very solid trades with no Zerglings out in front. The Banelings are rolling in towards the third base. There's a single cannon there to defend. The Queen's at the front. Corrosive biles thrown out. The Banelings in the fourth. Hero manages to run away in time. 4 probes dead. Now working on the third. Meanwhile, the probe's on the run. He might get a couple more. A stasis blocks out some. But, oh, he's looking at 13 probes. The probes didn't run far enough. Another round of Banelings is on the way. The Ravagers and Zerglings must hold. But he's finished the +1 armor and +1 shields upgrades. Right now, quite a significant upgrade advantage for the gateway units from Hero. He just used a warp in, though, and he's not looking at the Banes, which will get another 5 kills. Reynor expanding down the center as well. Neither player able to stabilize. Reynor keeps sending the run-bys, but that leaves him without quite enough back at home to completely crush the Gateway army. The sheer mass of it is blocking off for itself, and more stasis wards coming up from the Oracles. The Queen's trying to sew things together. Banelings completing will roll into the Stalkers. Not a premium target, but I guess better than nothing. More corrosive bows. Reynor's supply starting to dip. More roaches. Oh, he caught one! Oh no! Most of the Ravagers, he blunks forward. The Oracle's coming in. Here come the charge lots. The first stasises are about to time out, but the rest of the queens will be cut down as Hero ties things up, and we're going to the ace match. Hero just throws it all to the front lines. He doesn't care about the damage he takes back at home, as long as he's able to deal out more to Reynor. What a mess. Both these players just going at it. And now we're down to 1. It's going to be on Frostline. Reynor almost compulsively sending out counterattacks. Never quite enough. That's just how Hero plays, though. Like, he doesn't... He's kind of like Reynor. He doesn't really think about it. He just goes and trusts himself to find a way out of less than ideal situations. It's a blessing and a curse for both these players so far. And we'll just have to see who's more blessed by the end. Oh. No. So, in our last bit of downtime before the madness begins one last time, it'd be awesome. You could smash that like button and subscribe. You made it this far. Wake up! I don't know how you press the like button on your TVs, but next time you get to your computer or something. And thank you for watching. Oh yeah, and by the end of this month, I'm aiming, we should be able to get our first step to 10 million subscribers, which is going to be 250,000, hopefully. Currently, when you're watching this, which is hopefully the first day, like 246 or 7, something like that. And we're on track by the end of the month. I know it's a short one, well, February, to go for 250,000. So if you're watching this when I got 15 million and StarCraft 3 is the largest sport in the world, and somehow Cyril is still #1 at it, well, hopefully this is still keeping you entertained. But I hope it makes your day a little bit better. I love how different this is than Hero versus Cyril. I guess Hero's the same. Hero's a very similar style of just chaos. But Reynor clearly following that same school or lack thereof. It's like middle of the road opener so far. No gasless 3 hatch for Reynor, but no crazy cheese or Nexus first for Hero. It's always interesting to see who's willing to commit in the final game. Most top tier players will kind of try to go back to default. Whatever their most comfortable and usually macro build is. There's only been a few players who regularly... Well, you can't cheese every Game 5 or Game 7 without your opponent catching on by probably the second tournament you play, so... And of course, just because there's no cannons at the back of the natural by the 3-minute mark doesn't mean that creative strategies are rolled out by any means. Honestly, most of the strategy starts by the time the second Oracle enters production. That's when we'll see, for the most part, if we'll deviate from the more typical course. We'll be an Oracle first. No Void Ray this time around. That was mostly reserved for Abyssal Reef, I think, the most turtly map. I assume, well, obviously at this point, Neon Violet Square and King's Cove were vetoed. Honestly, I would be surprised if both these players would like to veto those, so hard to choose him, but probably Reynor, the larger ones. Third base on the way. The Overlord on the pervert pillar by that crane thing. No, it's just like a crane. It's a crane. And now it's going to be covered with the blood of an Overlord. Or whatever they got inside there. It looks like blood. It very much looks like blood. Second Oracle on the way. We've already got the Spore Crawlers in production. RaynorNet. That is a quick lair. 4-minute lair. Certainly worthy of note. That's why I noted. But Nidus? Either way, we will be seeing some early tech out of Reynor. Making sure he has options. And he hasn't started a Roach Warren. Very notably here. So that limits the options as well. Reynor has going on 3 gas gathers. Queen's going to drive back the oracles for now. Or drive them into the main. I think he just spotted the lair. Not done yet, but there's a Twilight. Now +1 ground weapons will begin. There's a lot of options for Reynor here. But he's going to have to commit to whatever he picks. Saving up the gas. Hydra Den. And +1 ranged attack on the way. Just a mass Hydra rush. Slaps down the Revelation. Hydra Den not yet spotted. So Hero's seen enough information to be concerned, but not enough to draw any conclusions yet. And this is about as direct a counter as you can get to Blink +1. Hydras quickly with full 3-base saturation. And I assume we're going to see the speed upgrade first. Clearing out some of the creep tumors. There's a Templar Archives already in production. Yeah, the speed upgrade in order to be able to chase potentially off creep as well. Hydra's just far too slow. There's a reason why Zerg has a speed upgrade for pretty much everything. And creep is effectively a speed upgrade in and of itself. Hydras and Lings. Oracles darting into the main. One of them badly bruised. Reynor building a few more drones, so not a crazy all-in, but instead letting Hero come to him. Templar Archives researching Storm. Blink about to complete. And the Stalkers just trundling forward. There's enough energy for plenty of stasis back here as well. But here come the Hydras. The Zerglings will trigger the stasis. The Oracle's dangerously close as well. And more Zerglings. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, things are getting very dangerous as he's preempting the blink, but the Oracles will cover the retreat. Hero. Oracle badly bruised. Stalkers getting picked off, but will be able to have a fighting retreat. Lurker Den and Hive is on the way, and Reynor has read him like a well-known book at this point. Hero defaulted to the most standard Blink, and now Storm, Charge, +2. But Reynor didn't take... He's at 84 drones. He's defended the Blink, and he's at 84 drones. And already has a Hive on the way. Hero has not done enough to slow this down. Storm is good, but ranged lurkers will be coming online remarkably quickly. And that will be a very dangerous moment. In fact, he doesn't even necessarily need range in this scenario. Storm is done. The Hydra's coming in from the right flank. There's not enough energy at the moment. Did he just recharge something? No, not yet. The 4th base is taken out. The alternative 4th will actually be defended for now. Manages to pick off a few more. Stasis in the midst of everything. Reynor will just let it trigger. The Hydra's working through. And right now trying to make sure Hero doesn't have a large enough target to storm effectively. Did he get Hydra range behind it? He did. Lurker range is now in production. And 8 Lurkers are on the way. Hero starts the fleet beacon. But the beacon takes a while to come online. And there's not going to be a mothership. No Tempest. I don't believe he even has a robotics facility. So detection, there's 1 Oracle. And no robotics facilities. Nothing to see these Lurkers reliably. And that's going to be quite a revelation, though not a happy one. Hero. He has the Templar on station. Whips out the first couple storms. He's going to need much more than that, though. Slaps down a Revelation. That storm not finding the mark, really. As Reynor cross-hatching his way through. Boxing out towards the center. Hero. The gateways are being ripped down. Lurker range isn't even done. He's just started the attack when he had the Lurkers. And now will be moving forward even more effectively. Takes out another one, but the Hydras and Lings are closing in. 65 supply gap. Another Oracle is on the way. Has to storm himself. More Templar are taken down. And Hero will be eviscerated. Cut to pieces. In game number 5, he just doesn't have the units. He doesn't have the defenses. He doesn't have anything in the wall. And now, he doesn't have the games he needs to claim victory. He's gonna fight out a little bit longer. But not long enough. GG! Reynor with an incredibly hard-fought 3-2. And I think Hero has to be kicking himself on that game on Amygdala, where it looked like he had almost every advantage, but the Zerglings slipped by. And Reynor slips through. The most decisive game being the final one. Such a different series. And then we saw Hero versus Serral. But honestly, in some ways, more entertaining as Reynor's fast and hard style of Zerg. And I'm not going to apologize for my terminology, though I'll cringe a little bit. Making for some hectic and decisive games. Well, hopefully it made your day just a little bit better. And if you got the means and motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. Thank you to our Mule tier patrons for bringing in so many minerals. Big Jiggy, Dork, Mario N, thank you. And, well, I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Congratulations to Reynor. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.